Welcome again to the Old Principal. I am the Old Principal, and we teach a little bit of English and obviously a little bit of the philosophy of the Old Principal. Well, this is going to be lesson number 170. This is a hitchhiker. Okay, number 170, 搭便车者. Okay, hitchhiker, number 170. And so now let's listen to the story.
Story 170. The Hitchhiker. Listen as Adam tells his story. In 1949, my father had just returned home from the war. On every American highway, soldiers were hitchhiking home. But the thrill of Dad's reunion soon became sour because his mother had become so sick that she had to be taken to the hospital. The sickness was in her kidneys. The doctors told Dad that she needed a blood transfusion immediately, or she wouldn't live through the night. But Grandmother's blood type was AB negative, a very rare type, even today. But blood was even harder to get then because there were no blood banks or air flights to ship blood. All the family members were, quotes, typed, but no one was a match. The doctors gave the family no hope. My grandmother was dying. Dad left the hospital to gather the family so everyone could tell Grandmother goodbye. As my father was driving home, he passed a soldier hitchhiking home to his family. But Dad was in such grief that he didn't feel like doing a good deed. Yet it was almost as if something outside himself pulled the car to a stop, and he waited as the stranger climbed into the car. Dad was too upset to ask the soldier his name, but the soldier noticed my father's tears and asked why he was crying. Dad told this total stranger that his mother was dying because the doctors had been unable to locate her blood type, AB negative. If they couldn't find it before nightfall, she would surely die. It got very quiet in the car. The soldier extended his hand to my father, palm up. Resting in his hand were the identification tags from around his neck. The blood type stamped on the tags was AB negative. Dad turned the car around and raced back to the hospital. Grandma lived another 47 years, but no one ever knew the soldier's name.
Okay, now we've come back. You've got a pretty good idea about the story. Now we'll take a look at it. So, here we go. Listen as Adam tells his story. This is the story of Adam. Going on. In 1949, now keep in mind that 我自己有一点感触 because in 1949 I was 6 years old. That's all I was, just 6 years old in 1949. In fact, well, I'll come back and I'll tell you the story one of these days, a very interesting story, what happened at that time. So, we go on now to, in 1949, my father had just returned home from war. Now, obviously, this is Adam's father, it's not my father. So in 1949, my father had just returned home from war, 战场. Okay, this is where they were war. What war? World War II, 第二世界大战. Okay, on every American highway, soldiers were hitchhiking home. The reason why the soldiers were hitchhiking is because they were very poor. They had finished the war, they had finished, everything was done, they were back home, and they wanted to go the very cheapest way, 最便宜的方法是搭便车. So what you do is you hold your thumb out like this. That means I would like to go on your or in your car. So on every American highway, soldiers were hitchhiking. They were going home. But the thrill of Dad's reunion, okay, going on. But the thrill of Dad's reunion soon became sour because his mother, that would be Adam's grandmother, the thrill of Dad's reunion soon became sour. You see, he's coming home. He's coming home. But, the reunion. Reunion is coming back together. When we say we have a family reunion, 团聚, okay, 家庭团聚, soon became sour. Sour. That means it became an unhappy situation. Sour is 酸. Or maybe you could even say 酸疼. Okay, it became an unhappy situation because his mother, that would be his mother would be Adam's grandmother, had become so sick that she had to be taken to the hospital. So here she is. The son has returned from war, and guess what? His mother is now very, very sick and had to be taken to the hospital. So this should be a happy time because he's back from the war, and it was not the happiest time going on. The sickness was in her kidneys. 肾脏. You have two kidneys. They're in the back. Okay? And so apparently there was some kind of problem in her kidneys. 肾脏 going on. The doctors told Dad that she needed a blood transfusion. What is a blood transfusion? 要输血. Okay, transfusion. That means they need to give her some blood. Okay, in America and China and Hong Kong and any place in the world, if you're very, very sick and you need more blood, you get a blood transfusion. That means somebody else's blood is being put into you. So the doctors told Dad that she needed a blood transfusion immediately. 马上需要. Or she wouldn't live through the night. What does that mean? It simply means that if she did not get it, the problem would be that she would not live through the night. In other words, she would die because she didn't get the blood. So that is the situation going on. But grandmother's blood type was AB negative, a very rare type even to today. Okay, so he says 我的这个祖母的 blood type 这个血型 okay 血型 is AB. Okay, AB is very, very rare, very rare. Okay, and type today. Okay, so 到现在还是相当难的. So I do know that in some places the blood type's very, very important, and you get many kinds of I see superstitions, 迷信. But this is real. AB negative 这个负 AB 这个负的这种血型啊. So what to do? Of course, now Adam is telling this about his father and his grandmother. It's the grandmother that is sick. So grandmother's blood type was AB negative. 很不容易找到的 going on. But the blood was even harder to get then because there were no blood banks. Okay, what is a blood bank? Do you know what a bank is? Everybody knows what a bank is. What is a bank? A bank is where you keep your money. So what would a blood bank be? A blood bank is where you keep blood. 血库. So the blood was harder to get then. 为什么是那时候是比较麻烦的，比较不容易找到？ Because there were no blood banks then, or air flights to ship the blood. Nowadays, you know, if you need blood, they can 用航空运, okay? They can use airplanes to move them back and forth. But in those days, very, very difficult. Extremely difficult. So, what to do? Remember now, she cannot live through the night. So, what are we going to do? There's no way. She's probably going to die. Going on. All the family members were typed. Okay, what does it mean to get your blood type? Okay, 检测. That means they're going to check and see what kind of blood they have. Now, in the family, 在家庭中间呢，比较容易找到这个血型啊，需要的血型。But, and here's the problem, but no one was a match. 没有一个是配合的，没有一个是配合这个 AB negative. Okay, so the doctors gave the family no hope. In fact, grandmother was dying. Okay, 祖母要死. This is, when we say, I know that it maybe sounds a little strange in Chinese, 他正在死, but this is 现在进行式, which means it is happening right now. She is dying. Going on. Dad left the hospital. Dad left the hospital to gather the family. Okay, 要召集这个家庭啊。Okay, so that everybody could tell grandmother goodbye. 要向她告别。To say goodbye. You know, this is the final goodbye. So it's a sad time. His dad should be happy he's back home. But his mother, that means Adam's grandmother, is dying. Go ahead. As my father was driving home, he passed a soldier hitchhiking home to his family. Okay, so here you have it. His father is driving home. He's driving home. And he passed by, 越过, he passed by a hitchhiker. 搭便车的一个人，这个搭便车的车者, okay? Maybe you could say it that way. And so he saw this hitchhiker, because the hitchhiker was a military man, so 士兵, a soldier, and he is on his way home to his family. Going on. But Dad was in such grief. He was in such grief. 非常这么难过的时候, okay? 悲伤的 grief, 悲伤的 that he didn't feel like doing a good deed. So he just did not feel like doing a good deed. But 他根本不想做好事. Why? Because his mother was dying and there was no hope. And so he didn't want to do anything for anybody. He was just very, very sad. 很难过. Going on. Yet, it was almost as if something outside himself pulled the car to a stop. Okay, this is very interesting in English. Yet it was almost as if, 好像是有一个额外的 something, 不晓得某一个额外的力量 pulled the car to the side of the road. Okay? And he waited as the stranger opened opened the door and climbed in. 他就等着这个陌生人，他是士兵啊 okay? He climbed into 上了车 climbed into the car. Going on. Dad was too upset to ask the soldier his name. Okay, upset, 太难过. And to ask his name, he didn't even think. Well, of course, sometimes this is true. When you are very upset, you don't think about the proper things to do. The proper thing is, hi, my name is, oh, what's your name? But he didn't think about this. So he didn't ask him his name. But the soldier noticed my father's tears. Okay? 的军人呢，这个注意我爸爸的眼泪。So he sees the tears coming down his face. And he asked, why? 为什么？为什么你在哭？ So now you have the situation going on. Dad told this total stranger. Now remember, when it says this total stranger, 完全是陌生人, okay, total stranger, that his mother was dying. Okay, 他的母亲 is dying. She is in the process of dying right at that very moment. There's no hope. And so he said, well, this is all I can say. My mom is dying. That's the reason why he was crying. And for me, it would be even, I'm sure, very more emotional. 这个感情很浓啊. Why? Because here he's been to war. He has survived. 生存下去. He was not killed. He comes back only to find that his mother is dying. He told this total stranger that his mother was dying because the doctors had been unable, 这医生没办法找到 locate the blood type 血型 A, B negative. So he says this is the situation going on. If they couldn't find it before nightfall, she would surely die. If they couldn't find it before nightfall, you know, what is nightfall? Night, you know what that is. That's evening. That's 晚上. And nightfall means 这个日落, okay, 太阳下山等等. When it starts to get dark, or when it gets dark. If she didn't have blood by then, she would die. Going on. It got very quiet in the car. It got very quiet in the car simply means that both of them were thinking. It got very quiet. It's a very sad, 很悲伤的时刻. And then something interesting happened. The soldier extended his hand. Maybe I can do without this right at the moment. He extended his hand, palm up. Do you know what palm up means? When you say palm up, you mean your hand is up like this. This is the palm of your hand. This is the palm of your hand. So when I say palm up, so the soldier put out his hand, and it was palm up. Now, what was in his hand? Go ahead. Resting in his hands were the identification tags from around his neck. Okay? In his hands are his ID tags. Everybody in war has an ID tag. An ID tag tells their name and a little bit of information about them. Of course, identification is 身份 号码等等, okay? But this identification tags from around his neck. Everybody wears this, like 链子. It's just like a necklace. You wear it. Every soldier wears it. Going on. The blood type stamped on the tags was AB negative. Okay, here it is. On the ID tags that they're wearing, and which was in his hand, okay, these ID tags, 这个印在上面 A, B negative, 它的血型 A, B negative. Wow. Going on. Dad turned the car around and raced back to the hospital. Okay? 他的爸爸 就把车子转回。When it says raced, now normally racing is 比赛, of course, right? Okay, racing is but sometimes if you say I'm racing back to the hospital, you simply mean that you are hurrying as fast as you can, 最快的就回去医院。Going on. Grandma lived another 47 years. Okay, so obviously he gave his blood to save, the soldier gave his blood to save the lady. Obviously he didn't know who the lady was, but he had the right type of blood. 他的血型是对的. So the final sentence says, Grandma lived another 47 years. 47 years. 还活了47年. And here's the bottom line. No one ever knew what the name of the soldier was. No one ever knew what the soldier's name was. That's quite some story, isn't it? Well, this again is just another story, and it comes from the time when I was a young boy. Now, you can write an email to us. Our email address is theoldprincipal@gmail.com. 这个是我们的电邮的地址。我们的网站是 www.theoldprincipal.org. Hey, it's been lots of fun to be with you today, and I hope that you'll join us next time for another session of The Old Principle.